it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. February the 13th, I played my headline show as a host and made history. And it kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of things in terms of what I'm capable of doing. There's no limits to this. There's no limits at all. We're here, man.
Finally,
it's about time.
yeah, man, Mr. Nathan Hector, man.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, bro.
Afternoon, brother.
So let's kind of like get to it, man. I'll tell you how I was first aware of you through acting, and that was quite significant to me.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about specifically that moment. What actually triggered you to actually want to do that show?
A headline.
Yeah.
It was something that I always had in the back of my head. I planned to do it like last April, and then it just fizzled away. Like I didn't plan it properly. And I realized that, okay, look, to get certain people to do the show, you need to holiday them months in advance, and obviously it was approaching festival season, and things were just a lot more complicated than I thought they would be, you know. So I had to go back to the drawing board, and I kind of just left it for a bit, you know. And then my manager Miller, the way Mills, my brother, hit me up and was like, "Bro, we're gonna do the show. Like, there's no one doing what you're doing. You're arguably the biggest host in the country, if not Europe. We need to do this kind of thing." And I just said, "No, I'm not ready." And he was like, "Bro, if you're not ready now, then you're never gonna be ready. Like, living out your dreams and living out your purpose, you're never gonna be like, who's ever ready, you know?" So I said, "All right, cool. Do what you need to do, and let's do it." And even then, I still just wasn't ready. I was like, I was getting anxious, thinking about how the night would pan out in my head, and what are they gonna think, and how's it gonna make sense? Like, I'm a host, you know. Hosts don't put on headline shows and be the star of the show. That's just ridiculous. Who does that? And that's what I said to Miller on the phone. I said, "Who does that? That's madness." And he was like, "Well, you're gonna be the first to do it." I was like, "All right, cool." And I still had that like kind of 30 to 40% doubt, but the other 60% of me was saying, yeah, like maybe we could pull this off, you know. I had all the guys with me, and he literally just booked the venue, and then before I know it, was in King's Cross, like where we are now, doing the promo shoot. And then a couple days later, I had the flyer, and it was just all surreal for me, man. Like, and then the campaign leading up to the show was amazing. We had promo shoots with Mela Twins, Central C, Rams. So yeah, man, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. February the 13th, I played my headline show as a host and made history. And it kind of opened my eyes up to a lot of things in terms of what I'm capable of doing. There's no limits to this. There's no limits at all.
How do you deal with you doubting yourself, and then people who you want to believe in you doubting you too? You know, how did you? Because when you're doing what you created, like no one had ever done that before. So how did you have belief in?
I guess when we sold out like 2 days before, 3 days before, and I said, "This is nuts." Like, I was just in my room just thinking, this is mad. This is insane. I don't have a song. I don't have 1 million views or 2 million views or 100,000 followers. I'm just trying a thing, you know, and that's all you can do is try. And I guess on the night, all that self-doubt just went away, and I said, this is going to be sick. I can't believe this. Like, yeah, there are amazing acts, Shauna Sade, Mowgli, Central C, the Mela Twins, that special acts that came out, you know. But primarily, I'm the star of the show, and I don't have a song. It's just ridiculous. Who does this? And then I went out, and it was crazy. It was mad. I felt like an artist.
But you're a performer though, like
Yeah, I'm like an entertainer.
You entertain people,
you know. And I realized at night, after all the shows I've done, doing your own thing, nothing compares. I feel like that I can't see what I'm doing, but my road manager Fraser and my DJ Nero, the DJ, always tell me, bro, you don't know what you do to that crowd. Only we can see. To you, it might be normal. And to me, it is kind of normal. Like I walk in, we shut down shows and we leave. Like that's it. And my whole thing was just making sure people have a good time. And that's been my thing from the start. I didn't have no prior experience in hosting. It was just something I chose to do. I dictated it and I just went forward and I did it, you know. And I put myself in certain places and in certain situations where I was able to do so. So my whole thing was make sure they have a good time. Make sure they have a good time. Make sure they leave with a memory and just something. I don't know what it could be, but just something, you know. I never want to host a night and the crowd was saying, oh, he's this shit guy, or that's like my worst nightmare. You know, but again, you can't please everyone. Not everyone's going to like what you do and feel what you do, but as long as you do, yeah.
And then how do you actually learn to ascertain what is your worth? Because as you said, you didn't really want to be a host. You kind of like put yourself into that position. So how do you then get to a point where you're like, all right, cool, I'm kind of like trying a thing, but I need to now know what my value is like, so I'm not getting twanged, I'm not getting underpaid or...
It was after I hosted Post Malone show in 2016. It was sold out. It was Brixton Electric, 2,000 people, and that wasn't planned. You know, my friend, I went there with a friend of mine, Seshi, Morgan Keys, another good friend of mine, connected the dots. And within one night, I went from meant to be going to a show in West London to watch my friend T.E. No, it wasn't T.E., it was, because T.E. was at the Post Malone show. It was someone else. I can't remember who it was, but I was meant to go to West London to a show. And I somehow ended up in South London with a mic in my hand in front of 2,000 people. And that was the same year I started. That was the same year I started to host. And that was my last show of 2016. I remember doing Crowd Pleaser with DJ Shorty Bless. And it was just like, that was the moment I realised, nah, there's no one else that can do this like me. I mean, there's always been the title host or presenter. And there are amazing presenters and amazing hosts, but there's not another Nathan Hector. And that's what I realised on that night. There's no one else that is walking into buildings and doing this to crowds. Not that I've seen anyway. There's probably thousands of people somewhere else doing it, but no one's doing it like Nathan Hector. And as crazy as it may sound and big-headed as it may sound, if I don't have that belief, who else is going to believe me? That, people ask me all the time, like, how do you do it? How do you get up on stage and move around the way you do? Like, people must think you're a rapper. And the majority of people do think I'm a rapper, but I don't have a song. I love music. I come from a musical background. I've got family members that are in the music business. I've been in studios since I was young. And I guess from the age of 18 onwards, or yeah, 18/19 onwards, I was attending music shows like Sick a Bit, like Old School Sundays. I was going to a lot of events where people would perform and do a lot of stuff, you know. And I kind of guess I kind of like, I saw what I didn't want to do and took that and said, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to do big stages. I want to do big crowds. And there were times where there were small crowds, and I would host in Birmingham, for instance, and get booked for like really small events. But if you don't start off small, then you're not going to appreciate the big, you know. So the big I get now, the big shows I get now are like super appreciative, because I remember it was me, Tizzy Brandz in Birmingham on Broad Street in some venue, I forgot what it's called. I remember, hey guys, my name's Nathan Hector, and everyone's just talking amongst themselves. And it was at that time, it was 2010, That was 2016 as well. That was the beginning of 2016. I thought, oh, I don't know if this hosting thing's for me, man. You know?
Well, you were discouraged a bit.
Yeah, I was very discouraged, and I just thought, okay. But that made me realize that not every show can be lit. Like, not every show can be hype. Sometimes it's gonna be like that, and sometimes it's gonna be all the way up. But I know how to go all the way up, so it's all right.
Yeah, man, bro, you're a turn up kid, bro. But that moment of like going there and saying your name, and like, did you expect them to like respond to who you were, or they just weren't? They just didn't acknowledge your energy?
Man. Like, I've always had this thing of like people. I want people to know who I am. Like, I want people to know what I do, and I guess, in God's honest truth, I hadn't put in enough work in the hosting world for them to even care. You know, but more time when I step out now, like, a couple people in the crowd like kind of know who I am, and I always just make sure I've got some type of presence about me when I walk on the stage. You know. Yeah.
I mean, you talked about it, you know, coming almost from like a musical background. The obvious thing would be that you're so close within the music culture that where would you see yourself manoeuvring next? You know, do you just want to be like, oh, I'm the biggest host in the UK, period? Or are you going to get more in time with the music?
I'm trying to do another headline show and just keep doing headline shows, and hopefully put together a compilation CD with some artists that are coming up. I've got a producer that I work with called Nat Powers. There's so many options, there's so many avenues. I want to host Coachella one day. I just think crazy stuff. Like last year I said I'm going to do wireless. I bumped into Still Banglez, my big brother, family friend. He let me host a set on wireless. It's all about your state of mind, law of attraction. I said I'm going to do a headline show. People looked at me like I was crazy. I done a headline show. The same people that looked at me like I was crazy said, oh, I'm so proud of you. I always knew you could do it. But you didn't know I could do it until I showed you I could. And that's like, it shouldn't have to be like that. If someone says they're going to do something crazy, you believe them, but, you know, you don't fully doubt them and laugh.
How do you know that they doubted you though? Because I guess they made hype behind the fact of like, oh yeah, no, do your thing, bro, that's sick. How do you know?
Because I'm a host. Like, hosts don't do headline shows. When I tell people I've done my own headline show, they look at me like I'm mad. And it's like, I know what happened that night, you know? And it takes a lot of like, not explaining, but, no, it does take a lot of explaining actually. Yeah, it takes, I wouldn't say a lot of explaining, but it takes some explaining to do, because I don't have a song, I'm not an artist. I don't have, as I said, I don't have 100,000 followers and 2 chains. It's just me and Mike and my DJ. And even when I tell people I've got a DJ, how can a host have a DJ? It's meant to be the other way around. Popping DJs have hosts, not popping hosts have DJs. It's unheard of.
Do you think that you're a pioneer to an extent?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's me being honest with myself.
Because if you look at the moves you're making, they haven't been made before.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really like to put big. Like, I've made history once, but it's not about doing it just once. It's about continuously doing it and getting better at making history and leaving a stamp and making an impact. You know, and I feel like I wouldn't call myself a pioneer just yet. I feel like the people need to call me that before I call myself that.
So let me ask you this then. All right, so family, how supportive have your family been in your endeavours?
Super supportive. As of like recent, like as of the last year, 2 years, like I've been up and down the country, hosting shows, meeting new people, filmed for The Intent, filmed a whole bunch of different stuff. Before, it was like, yeah, I'm doing this, but I wasn't really doing any, like I said I was doing acting, but there were times where it was really slow. I didn't have an agent, I wasn't getting auditions, I wasn't hosting. So I guess I kind of done this to prove a point to myself, the hosting thing. I've done this to prove a point to myself and to some family members that I'm not here to, it's not a joke thing to me. It's not. I'm here for keeps, I'm here to stay.
Do you feel like whenever creatives are trying to explain things to their family that they never really actually get it until it's like...
Yeah, but this is it. Like, I come from a family of go-getters. Like, work super hard. But that's all they know is work. You know, and it's not bad.
9 to 5, check out.
Yeah, 9 to 5, you know? And like, when I told my mum I want to be an actor, she was like, yeah, cool, but you need to get a job. And I got a job, and I realised, this shit ain't working for me. It works for other people, but I just know what I'm like. Like, I can't sit in an office and just, like, put all my hours into making someone else rich, and then my happiness and my goals go away. And if that's gonna be the case, you need to do super overtime. But I got to a point in my full-time job, I was selling solar panels at a place called My Planet, and I was just looking around and thinking, nah, this can't be my life. There's no way.
Wait, how long were you doing that for?
I was doing it for like 4 months, 5 months, but I already knew what I wanted to do. And sitting in an office, calling people from outside of London for 12 hours was not my portion.
You're doing 12-hour days?
Something like, yeah, no, I wouldn't say 12 hours. That was
but so when you're doing that though, like, was it, I won't say demoralizing, but it couldn't have tied into your vision of yourself doing that job?
Yeah, I started to feel like the moment I started to feel like I was getting comfortable in the job, I said, hell no. Whoa. It was scary for a minute because I always knew what I wanted to do. I want to be an actor. I want to be an entertainer. What's going on? Kind of thing. Yeah. And my mum's always pushed me to do what I want to do, but just make sure you got a backup plan, kind of thing, you know?
But sometimes the backup plan, you can't have one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta go all
if
in.
Like, there's too many what ifs. Oh, but what if I don't make it? But what if I'm not successful? How do you know if you don't try? How do you know? You're never gonna know if you don't try, you know? And my whole thing was just like, nah, I'm not doing this full-time job thing. I'm going for what I want in this life. Life is too short, man. Like, I've seen people work their whole lives and they're still unhappy. Like, what have you got out of your life that you wanted? And then you ask people what they really wanted to do and they'll tell you. And then it's like, it's just sad, man. Like, but everyone's set up different. But I just know what I wanted out. I just know what I want out of my life, and that wasn't it.
It's like, this is random, right? But it's to do with women, right? When you're in that position when you're like almost dreaming, right? Like, I want to be this, I want to be that. Like, I was talking to Nathan about this. I was saying to him, he was like,
good friend of mine.
Yeah, cool guy. I was saying to him, he's saying that like it was kind of peak at times to say that he's a rapper to a girl was like, it was a joke thing, like they wouldn't take him seriously because financially it ain't paying off yet. And did you personally ever find like in pursuing that creative part of life that it kind of like affected how women will see you?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Like, it's weird. It's so weird. You come across so many different women on your journey, or just people in general on your journey. But the change in women as you're going through the transition of living out your dreams is insane. Like, they won't take it, they'll laugh at you. Anyone will laugh at you, but especially girls will laugh at you if you're not that guy.
Yeah.
You're not that guy yet. Or you haven't got that watch, or you haven't got that car, or you haven't got those Gucci crepes, or you haven't got that house by the time you're 21. And then when you materialize it, like, it's nuts. The same ones will come back, or better ones will just start appearing around you. And all these pretty girls will just come, and it's just ridiculous. But some girls are different. Some girls don't like the hype. Some girls genuinely just don't care. Some girls just want to be around you for image, but they don't care what you've got. They just, I don't know, it's weird, man. It's weird. But me personally, I've been raised by 2 queens, my mama and nan. And my whole thing was just like, just keep it 100 at all times and don't be fake, as I've never been. And just keep the same girls you've had around you. Like, I know who's genuine and who's not. 1000%. I definitely know who's genuine and who's not. You really look like Nathan Massey, you know. Yeah, mad.
But
Winner of Love Island 2016, really good guy.
so, but are you currently in a relationship, or you can't say?
No, I'm not.
You know,
No.
what, you more focus on work, or
Just work, man. Like,
yeah,
a lot of this stuff comes with people not understanding.
this is the truth.
In God's honest truth, you know? People just don't understand.
Hey, bro.
Literally, unless
What
she's
don't they
in your...
understand? 'Cause I'm sure we understand.
Yeah.
But what don't they understand?
The long hours, the sacrifices that you have to make, the confidence, the everything, man. Like, the amount of times a week I get told to be humble is ridiculous. Like, I'm not saying being humble is bad. We should all be humble, because none of this stuff is guaranteed. None of this stuff is promised, and no one owes you shit. Let's just be realistic here. But there's only, I wouldn't say so long I'm going to be humble for, but there's only so much I've got to be humble for, you know? I'm grateful for my life. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm blessed to be able to do what I love for a living. But my whole thing is, no one was telling me to be humble when there was no shows, when there was no money, when there was no management, when there was no DJ, there was no cameraman, there was nothing. No one was telling me be humble then. But as soon as you start to secure little bags here and there and you're going for the big bag, everyone wants to tell you, don't forget where you came from. Be humble now. It just, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. I went off topic a bit there, but I'm not in a relationship.
But that's a good point, because I think it's almost within this culture here. I think America is almost like the American dream is possible. Like, you can be on top. Yeah. Here is like if you go there, then I'm left behind. I need to use my negative energy to keep you.
Yeah, and the thing is with the UK right now, well, just it might happen in like everywhere else, but just what I've noticed here, like, people will sleep on you. Facts. It happens to everyone. People will sleep on you until you secure the bag, and then they'll pretend they was awake for the whole time. Like, there's a lot of people that are sleeping on me right now. If I was to go to America tomorrow and get a crazy lead role of Samuel Jackson, everyone's gonna act like they was watching the whole time.
Yeah, I knew you would make it, Nathan. You'll get that, isn't it?
But, like, you didn't know until I showed you, and it shouldn't be like that. People should just believe in people from the jump and support them within their own right until they secure the bag. And even when they do secure the bag, still show them a little bit of love and special treatment, you know? I try and support as many people as I can that I believe in. And that's not because I want anything back. There's nothing can do for me that I can't do for myself. Okay. But we're in a time where young people are coming up. Actors, writers, directors, rappers, artists, everything, literally every field, young people are just popping. You know, so support your people if you like them, and don't be afraid to show love, man. I'm not afraid to show love. I've never been that guy that's too stush to be like, yeah, like I don't wait for someone to get 1 million views to be like, yeah, you're sick now, bro. Like, you could have 10 views and be sick, I'll still tweet you, but I've always been like that. But one thing I've learned is that not everyone's like me, or not everyone's got the same heart as me, and that's like probably one of my hardest lessons that I've learned.
Does that work against you sometimes?
Yeah, because sometimes I think, like, why is people not showing me the same love back? And then I realize, okay, look, everyone's different. Everyone's got busy schedules. Literally everyone's different, innit? Like, you can't expect everyone to show you the same love that you show them.
But do you think, I don't want to put words into your mouth, do you feel like because people may view you as a threat, that if Nathan gets in as he is, with everything that he represents, his energy, his charisma, he's with the people, that then it's going to take all the focus off us?
No, because then you could just go and make another song. I can't do that.
Oh, so it's more from artists, you reckon?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. It depends, innit? Like, I kind of fall...
Wait, sorry, so let's cut into
Yeah.
Is it possible that an artist can be jealous of you?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I show too much love to even think about all of that stuff. Like, I fuck with everyone, legit.
Because I'm wondering who wouldn't...
Like, when I say fuck with everyone, musically, like, I listen to everyone.
Yeah.
Down to Chip, Wretch, Jelani, Note, Spain, Kojo, NSG, Geko, Tyrese, M Huncho, Lowski, Sneakbo, S Wavy. I literally listen to everyone. I feel like everyone has got at least one song I like. Obviously, there's more than one song that some of them artists I've just mentioned I've got, but 9 scraps. Like, I think I'm a fan of this shit, man. I'm a fan of the scene, and I've been a fan before I had relationships with people, and I'll tell them that. I've never been afraid to say, you're sick, bro. Like, I'm genuine. I'll show love to everyone. And that's just the way I was raised. I can't help it. It's just the way I was raised.
So, not saying names, but where does the negativity or not wanting to see potentially shine come from? Like, where is that fella actors, hosts, comedians?
I don't know, man. I guess it's just, I just pick up on energies, you know? Like, a man will be cool when I see him on Oxford Circus, and then I see him 24 hours later at a red carpet event and he's being brief with me.
Yeah.
Or the person's being brief with me. And it's happened many a times, you know? You support a man who'll go on tour, who'll come off the tour, and then act like he don't know you, you know? And it happens. It happens. The attention, the fame, it gets to people. Like, and it just happens, innit? Like, people change over time, and again, no one owes you anything, you know? So it is what it is.